So we're going to look at the commanders from 10th edition. This might surprise you, but they used to only have 10 legendaries in a set of Magic the Gathering. I know, it's crazy, because there's like 1,000 every set, and there's no regular creatures anymore, it seems. So this is kind of like my thoughts on their viability as a commander, or if they're going to be better in the 99, maybe where they could be placed. But let's look at it inside a tier list as well. Make sure that we get some, so this is like a visual thing, you know. First off was Ambassador Laquatus, legendary Merfolk Wizard. It's a 1/3, and you can pay 3 to have a target player mill 3 cards. I mean, that's kind of neat. I think Bruvac is a lot more better at that. This could easily go in Bruvac, if you wanted, or if you wanted it less toxic as Bruvac, you could put this in there. Then you have to work for it, and you could do, I don't know, you could put the training grounds in there, have the activated ability cost less, and just dump mana into it. I think that would be really fun. But as far as viability as a commander, I think Laquatus there is, I don't know. Of course, these are probably all outdated, but you know, I like old cards. I think they could be a lot of fun. Let's put this. Oops, I'll put this in like C tier, because it's not the worst thing. It's like fairly average, because it's got a thing it can do, and it does that thing fairly well. Maybe not the best odds or balanced thing. 3 mana for 3 cards, I don't think that's equal. But yeah, bringing that down to like training grounds or whatever, I think that could be cool. I don't know, maybe he's D tier. He's somewhere in here. He's like he's not the best, but he's not absolutely abysmal. I don't know, maybe he is absolutely abysmal. I don't know. We'll put him D tier. Now I got Arcanius the Omnipotent. Everybody loves Arcanius. Arcanius has been reprinted a bunch, and he's just cool. Tap, draw 3 cards. Amazing. And then you can pay 2 blue to return it to your hand. So it protects itself, and it draws you cards. I'm pretty sure people still run Arcanius as a commander, because Arcanius, like I say, it was just reprinted in Dominaria Remastered. It's got some really cool prints. I like the this art is really good from that dual deck. But I think Arcanius is pretty dope. But yeah, find ways to just tap and untap. I'm sure there's some video out there on how Arcanius can be broken, but I think Arcanius is a pretty decent commander, because you're constantly drawing cards, and you have a way to protect itself. And again, you can put in training grounds, make that second ability cost less. Arcanius, I think I'm going to put maybe like a B tier, because he costs a lot, so it's a little bit slow for blue. But the ability to just draw cards, to draw 3 cards with 0 downsides. I guess tapping could be considered a downside, but tap, draw 3. That's pretty legit. But I wouldn't say it's A tier though, you know. Ascendant Evancarr. They just remade the white version of him, and not just made. This was a couple years ago, but 3/3 flying. Other black creatures get +1/+1, and non-black creatures get -1/-1, and that's all creatures. It's kind of annoying. It's really steep for what he is, because it's 6 mana for a 3/3 flyer, which isn't very good. And then other black creatures. So it's a black anthem, and black doesn't have many anthems, so that's kind of cool. And then non-black creatures get -1/-1. So this keeps white players from making, or I guess green players too, for making a whole bunch of tokens, especially now for Bloomburrow, make all those squirrel tokens. If you make a bunch of squirrel tokens, they're just not going to survive because non-black creatures get -1/-1 all the time with the Evancarr. So that's kind of cool. As far as being a good commander, I'd say it's not. There's just better mono-black commanders. I don't know. I could maybe see it going up to D tier, but for what you're getting, you're not getting enough for how much you're spending for him. Cho Mano Revolutionary. This one seemed cool. I'd actually never seen this card before. You prevent all damage that will be dealt to him. That's pretty awesome, just like as its own ability. It's a 4-mana 2/2 human rebel. So first off, it's got the rebel creature type, and we all know how rebels can be. And it just protects itself from all damage. So this could be really good in some sort of, you know, oh, look at this art. Oh, I've seen this version of the card. Yeah, I've not seen this version of the card. Yeah, swinging in just with no damage to be seen. I mean, there are definitely better aura commanders out there. But you could throw this in a, you know, mono white swords deck, have all the swords, protection from everything, and prevent all damage. I think that's pretty cool. That's a really good. I'd say that's still a really good pick as far as like a budget mono white command, like Voltron commander. And again, this ranking is not up against all the latest and greatest stuff. This is ranking them as their viability as a commander, because all of these would probably be pretty low compared to, you know, the rest of the cool creatures that have come out since. But I just like seeing them up here, and really takes you back to simpler times. Kamal Pit Fighter. This one must have been pretty big back in the day. 6/1 with haste for 6 mana, and you tap it to deal 3 damage to target creature or player. So Kamal and Arcanius give those tap abilities for blues and reds. Signature move, right? 3 damage is not enough for 6 mana. Even if it does have haste, he's really cool. I like his sword thing. I like that he's a 6/1, but he doesn't protect himself. So Evancarr from before, Evancarr easily gets rid of non-black creatures, get -1/-1. He's just dead. You can't cast him. I guess you could. He'll just die. So again, terrible mana efficiency. Mana efficiency was much less good back then, but for nowadays Magic, it's just a bad trade-off. Even if you do have a way to untap him, I don't know. It's hard to do in red, and it might be extra mana. You can use puppet strings, but that's a lot of mana, and it's just not enough damage. Even if you have something crazy out to triple his damage, it's just not going to be that good. Kamal Pit Fighter. We're going to stick you down here with Evancarr. Alright, next we got Miri Cat Warrior. I think there's a new Miri that's much better than this one. First Strike, Forest Walk, Vigilance. I like seeing a lot of keywords on things. It makes me happy. First Strike and Vigilance is just great on it in and of itself, but Forest Walk as well. That's pretty cool. A lot of people play green. You could turn things green or turn things into forests. Swing with her again. This could be a mono green Voltron commander, but I just think it's little lackluster, you know, compared to Cho Mano that protects itself. Miri does in combat with first strike, and because it doesn't tap, that's pretty cool too. And it can get through, but it's like it could still be pretty good commander for a forced walking thing. But we'll do C tier in the middle of the road. Molimo, Maro Sorcerer. This one's another one that's probably gonna have to be a Voltron commander, but even so, there's already a better card that does everything that Molimo does. 7 mana for a star trample. Its power and toughness are equal to the number of lands you control. So I don't know, you can get pretty big. Theoretically, his power is going to be 7/7 if you cast it like a regular human. But 7/7 for 7 with trample. It's kind of a like French vanilla creature, so it's fine. But again, it's a little boring. I'm gonna put him in F tier because Miri just does this better, and then Cho does it better. He's just a big stompy creature. Nothing to get too worked up about. Fage the Untouchable. Fage is probably the only one in here that actually gets play. Because when it enters the battlefield, if you didn't cast it from your hand, you lose the game. And whenever it does combat damage to a player, destroy to a creature, destroy that creature. And when it does combat damage to a player, that player loses the game. Fage is just busted. Fage, as you can see, is already more expensive than the rest of them because there are really good combos that could just... I've lost to this combo. You just put it from the command zone. It's like into your hand or into somebody else's play, and then they just lose. Stuff like that. Like it's really fascinating. Yeah, really cool combo commander. It does cost a lot, but as far as Fage goes, I think Fage is actually in this list an S tier because you can get really quite a lot of shenanigans that a lot of people like, and I think that's really cool. Rhea Dawnbringer, 6, 7, 8, 9 mana. Goodness gracious. I know some of you at least seen this from the Demons, Divine versus Demons, and it was reprinted in Ultimate Masters as well. This is another one that I guess it's still expensive, or fairly pricey for what these things do. But beginning of your upkeep, you can return a target creature card from your graveyard to the battlefield. 9 mana. I don't know, as a commander, this is never getting out. Especially in mono white. This is going to come out really late game, and by then hopefully you've got creatures in your graveyard. There are far less things to mill yourself in white, and then you're just going to have to wait a whole turn to get anything out of the graveyard. I don't think she's very good as a commander. I think she's a fine card. She's whatever, but Rhea is, I don't know, she's difficult to have as a commander. It's just like Avacyn's a better commander, and Avacyn's 8 mana. But still, it's hard to put in the command zone because you're probably just going to lose by the time you get it out. Lastly, we got Squee Goblin to Bob. Beginning of your upkeep, you may return Squee from your graveyard to your hand. Oh, Squee is expendable, as it says right here. Yeah, definitely not as good as this Squee, the Squee the Immortal, because you can cast Squee the Immortal from anywhere, basically, from graveyard or exile or your hand. Squee Nut Goblin to Bob. You can sacrifice it and for an effect, but then you have to wait for your upkeep to return it to your hand. So it's like you don't care if it dies, but even still, it's hard to justify that in the command zone when, you know, Squee the Immortal is just better. Because then it's just like a sacrifice outlet, and you can, because this one you can kind of make a loop almost with Goblin Bombardment, if you got enough mana or the engine to do so. Squee Goblin to Bob is just a slower version. I'm sure that was pretty cool back in 2007 or whenever this came out. But yeah, anyway, Squee. Yeah, there. F tier. So, turns out these are probably not the best. I just picked a random set and we used that. But hopefully you found some new commanders or cards for your commander decks that you might like and might want to use. Tell me what I got wrong. What do you think I got wrong? Or keep in mind, again, this is not a tier list for them actually competing against regular modern commanders, but rather a tier list of their viability from 10th edition. I don't know, what do you think? Do you use any of these cards? Would you reuse any of these cards? Do you still use these cards? Yeah, anyway, thanks for watching. Make sure you check out the TCGplayer affiliate link below, and check out Playmats and Proxies. They're awesome. And yeah, there you go. It's sorry it's a simple video again this week, but yeah, I'll catch you guys next week for your weekly dose of magic.